Hey guys, it is Haley. In this video, we are going to be talking about some tips that I have for singer-songwriters that are transitioning into playing electric guitar or want to add some of that in their set. I've seen a lot of writers' nights in Nashville that people are now starting to play electric guitar solo, which I think is awesome and sounds so good. And there's just a few things that I think are just small fixes that can really tighten up your performance and give you the full advantages of playing electric guitar. I think even though, it's technically the same instrument, how you play an acoustic and electric are really different. And electric, opens up all these possibilities that you might have not thought of playing acoustic guitar. So I wanted to share some of those with you. I think the biggest thing is just have fun with it and experiment and try new things and see kind of what works for you. But these are things that I do think are going to be really helpful. So the first thing is switching up your tone. I think that if you have even a small pedal board that maybe has just like a reverb or reverb and delay pedal, an overdrive, a tuner, we always love that. It can really be effective because you could play a verse, really clean or have a little reverb on there and then put on a big overdrive so you get this crunchy tone through the chorus. So for example, if you're playing maybe a verse and you wanted the dynamics to be a little bit lower, if you did something with just some reverb and delay on it like this. And then say you were really picking up the dynamics in the chorus or towards the end of the song, putting on a overdrive. I'm also taking off my delay just so it doesn't get too muddy here. So you see how that really gives it this different dynamic by just changing my tone. So I think having just a few pedals can be really effective. And I would also say if you are playing the kind of show that you just have to plug right in, getting a multi-effects unit is really nice that also has an amp simulator on it. I use the HX Stomp, which I love, and Boss Line 6, Milkman, those are all ones that are great. And so it's a lot easier than dragging your amp there or having to rely on an amp that might not be good at the writer's night or whatever you're playing that's already there. So tip number one is using different tones for different sections rather than leaving a tone the same the entire time. My next tip, this is one that I feel like people probably already know, but maybe not, is tuning up. I feel like I've heard so many that the guitar is slightly out of tune. This goes for acoustic as well, but especially when you're playing electric, if you have some reverb on there or delay and you're hearing those kind of off-key notes go forever, I think that it's just very important that you tune up before you do anything. So having a tuner pedal, I think, is really great. I think it's more reliable than a clip-on tuner, especially on electric. If there's a lot of noise in the room, sometimes your clip-on tuner can be unreliable and really let you down. So having a tuner pedal, hi Bentley, is really great because it's going to always be able to pick up your signal from your guitar no matter how loud it is. So that is something that I would say add if you have a mini pedal board. My next tip is when you're thinking about solos, so you're not just, dropping out and there's just nothing behind you while you're soloing like you might normally with an electric guitar solo. Thinking about creative ways to have other notes ringing out, so utilizing open strings is a really good way to kind of add some variations, or even just playing a chord with some different timing. So that can look like, playing an interval, like here's like a C, and now I'm just gonna do a little 6 chord off of it if I was doing this, or 6 interval. Doing something like that, some 6, or maybe doing some half bar chord type things. Doing some little things like that, I think, is just very helpful at creating a solo and thinking a little bit out of the box of just, I'm gonna use my pentatonic scale, or just using like single notes. As much as you can add 2+ notes in there for your solo, the more full it's going to sound. Or even just do chords and do a bunch of hammer-ons and pull-offs, So doing little things things like that. So that is my next tip. Okay, the next thing is to play lighter. When you are playing acoustic, you already want to play really light because it's going to make it sound just very beautiful and airy, but especially on electric, if you're digging in there like you would for an acoustic guitar with these big old strums, it's gonna sound muddy and it's just not going to make your tone be exactly what you want. The thing about electric is you can really create dynamics with your playing and also with your volume pedal, the volume on your guitar. And so if you're playing really soft, it can still pick that up. If you can't hear it, you can just turn up your amp or turn up your volume pedal, whatever, but it's gonna sound a lot prettier if you stay kind of light with your right hand here as you're playing. So that is something that sometimes can take a little bit getting used to, but is really important to practice as you're transitioning so you're not just like digging in there and making it sound really muddy and kind of taking out all the tone and prettiness that you just set. My last tip is thinking about all the new things that you can do now that you're playing electric. So for example, when you're playing acoustic, a lot of times it sounds good to play a little bit lighter. As you get higher up, it's gonna have less of that nice ringing out and it's going to sound a lot more clipped and usually just not as good unless you're like unless you're using a capo up here and playing chords. But on electric, that's not the case. You can, add reverb if you wanna go up higher and it just plays differently. So thinking about what little parts that you can add in your song that are maybe higher up the neck. So, you could do something like this, like creating a little melody line and using like 2 notes at the same time. Doing little things like that you could just add in like little lead lines into your playing or little intros. And I think it's fun to think of those sort of melodies rather than just having to stick to like these big open strums the whole time. It can still sound like a little bit more full on electric. So I hope that this quick little tips video helped you. I am most likely going to be coming out with a course that's going to be electric guitar for the singer-songwriter because I feel like I just love teaching these kind of things because a lot of times it's just these little tweaks to your playing or your mindset that can make all the difference. So let me know if you have any tips that you like to do when you're performing below or if you have any requests. And thank you guys so much for watching.